And now, race fans, for the most famous words in motorsports, the star of Universal Pictures movie, I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry, Kevin James.
I just got three things to say. God bless our troops, God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
Let's go racing. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome live to Dover Motor Speedway, where we bring you playoff action as the Thursday Thriller Truck Series on MRL has come to race number 3. That's right, it is race win or go home for a lot of these drivers. Last chance before our championship, and it's all going to take place here at Dover Motor Speedway, the Monster Mile. I'm Mean Gene Money. I've got my tag team partner here tonight, front row Joe Volpis, and the Professor, Buddy Sully, as well, doing all the hard work in that production booth. Joe, what do you think? We got a smoking matchup tonight.
Oh, yeah, Dover is always such a fun time. Definitely one of the racetracks that I've loved going to in person to watch some racing as well. It's such a cool place to just go see what's going to happen on the track, how things are going to play out tire strategy-wise, and we're going to see a lot of that here tonight, especially since iRacing just did an update of a lot of these tracks. Dover, one of them. If you guys have raced here in the past, you'll notice 1 and 2 on that apron there. It's now all paved down there. A lot of new signage, a lot of new... just the way the track drives as well. So we're going to see what happens here tonight and who has the upper hand on everybody else.
Can't wait to see what's going to happen tonight. Last week, Daytona International, we basically saw DDI versus the world. That's right, that entire outside lane coming off of that green-white checkered filled with DDI trucks. Captain Zach Panzarella, Dalton Geyer, playoff driver, Alex Hillman, Jonathan Quesabir, McGivern was out there with them as well. Inside lane, it was David Owens, and he had to reach out and call a friend because he had Eric Thornton and Jared Kelly behind him. Not typically going to team up, but sure enough, that was enough. David Owens took that win at Daytona International last week, punches his golden ticket in to the finals at Kentucky next week. Other playoff drivers still up for grabs. You can see they're on the board. I'm not going to say he's in, but it's going to be tough for Panzo to mess this up. Don't you think, Joe?
Yeah, with all the points that he accumulated between Auto Club and last week at Daytona, he does have a very sizable advantage to the guys behind him. So it's there would have to be a very wild scenario to happen here tonight in order for him to fall out of the championship 4. The guys behind him, though, not so much.
Yeah, then it gets interesting. You got Dalton Geyer, his DDI teammate. You got Smokin' Joe Volpis right behind him, right on the cutoff line. And then after that, those fellas, they're still in battle points-wise. They're not totally out of it. Jonathan Quesabir, another DDI driver, just 6 points behind Volpis. And then Matt Novella, yet another, surprise, surprise, guess what team he's on? That's right, DDI driver Matt Novella, 10 points behind Volpis. So these fellas still looking to point their way in. You might be wondering, well, what about number 7 and number 8 on those point standings? Those guys, they're going to need a win. That's Kyle Lynott and AJ Benish. Now, AJ, he had an interesting strategy for this round, didn't he, Joe?
Yeah, so he had to miss the first race of the round at Auto Club, unfortunately. And in order to meet his start threshold for the round, he got the old keyboard and mouse and remote setup set up at the hotel to make sure he was able to start Daytona last week and even have a chance here this week. But I'll tell you what, out of everybody below that cut line, I'd say he has a slight edge over Novella and Lynott, just based on what I've seen in the past here at this track on being able to race his way in with a win. Novella's won here in the past as well. So, you know, there's some guys, those guys down there, they could really just shake this whole strategy up here, Mean Gene.
Yeah, AJ, he's already got a win on the year. So that not a surprise to see him still being mentioned. AJ Benish, a very fast driver, Going to see what he can put here together. Also, though, Lanat, this guy shows speed every week in multiple series. Matt Novella, I mean, the guy's a champion just 2 seasons ago. So also that guy can show up and show out. So nobody out of this thing yet. It'll just be interesting for us to see here at the Monster Mile who is going to put up lap times and who is going to vanish. Earlier in practice, we were watching fastest guys on the track. Zach Panzarella had the fastest practice lap. Other fast drivers as well. Yeah, you know it. AJ Benish up there as well. So, Joe, the fellas who need to do good are doing good in practice. Qualifying underway right now. You can see Alex Hillman. You want to guess what team that guy's on, viewers at home? Yeah, you know it. That's another DDI driver. So it really does seem to be DDI versus the world at this point. 2 teams of 4 going for it from that DDI team. Other teams trying their best to battle back. Here's Steve Fugay, number 94, 2-time MRL Thursday Thriller winner. Steve, not in the playoffs, but always looking for a good run out of that Sunoco 94.
One thing I did notice there as we were watching some guys come out of pits, I think Joe Vulpes decided to take an excursion there on his outlap. So hopefully he was able to reset and get his way going again. It looks like he has.
That's always an interesting thing is when you blow that first lap and maybe you only get one. There's Joe right there. Remember, he is on that cutoff line. So Vulpes going to need a good run today to hold off the charging Jonathan K. Sabir and Matt Novella. One of those guys wins, all of a sudden, he's not the cutoff line anymore, and he's actually going to be a few points behind Dalton Geyer. So he needs to beat Geyer by about 5 spots just to move up and make himself safe, or hell, just win the thing, and then you don't even need to worry, and then you just get ready for Kentucky next week. AJ Benish, that's a guy we're going to keep an eye on today, that number 5 Chevrolet. He has to win. There's no other way in there for him. So it really is checkers or wrecker situation here. Remember, folks, this is season 5 MRL Thursday Night Thriller. This is our truck series where you're going to see some of the most exciting truck racing on iRacing. Mean Gene Money here, and got front row Joe Vulpes down there as well with us, getting ready to get this action underway. Bobby Dodson, that's another fast guy right there, the 32 AC Delco.
Yeah, he looks like he just put it at the top of the board there, so definitely a big lap from him. You can see some track facts up here right now. Definitely going to be a hot one here today. Even though the air temp is showing 76 degrees and partly cloudy, you can see that track temp 112. It's going to be a really, really hot track here. Concrete. We're going to see a lot of slipping and sliding from them today there, Mean Gene.
Ooh, set this thing up. I'll tell you what. Everybody likes a hot track. You know, let's make those tires melt off and cause extended runs with slick tires. We are scheduled today for 150 laps. That should be exciting. And the stage break will come at lap 50, I believe. They will take a caution at that point, give the drivers a chance to get fresh tires and fuel if they choose to do so. Stage points will be awarded, but at this point, you got to think about a victory. How do you think, though, that stage break will affect a driver like Geyer or Vulpes even, especially those two fellas, considering that third place could become the cutoff with a winner down the below? You got to take chances if you're those fellas, right?
Yeah, I think their strategy would be to try and get as many points as you can throughout the race. Not try and win it, but try and make sure you just outpoint the other driver and get your way in on points. Winning is a good strategy, but sometimes with the way cautions fall in races and the way strategy plays out, you know, taking tires before the stage break to try and get stage points usually puts you on the back foot for the rest of the race for the race win, and vice versa. Going for the race win, you're usually on the back foot for stage points. So we're going to see which way these guys go. I expect them to probably both be playing for points and not be playing for the race win, just with the scenarios they're in.
It'll be fascinating, and we will keep you, the viewer at home, informed as we watch how this unfolds. Looks like we're going to have 23 drivers. 22 drivers here on the track today. Going to be exciting as these guys battle for position. And here we go. The qualifying results are up. On the front row, taking the pole is the number 12, Zach Panzarella. Front row next to him, the number 32, Bobby Dodson. Joe Volpis going to take third. He'll be starting on the inside of row 2. Great run there by Tommy Fox. He's going to find himself in fourth position. Must win, Kyle Lynott. He is going to be starting in fifth place on the third row. Next to him, Eric Thornton. Eric Thornton did play a big role in the win by David Owens last week. Finds himself back up at the front. Steve Fugay going to start in seventh. David Brenner going to be in eighth with that number 22. Jonathan Casabir and Alex Hillman, DDI teammates, they will be row 5.
The rest of the field, you look on back, row 6 will have Dave Kirkpatrick, and alongside him, Dalton Geyer. Not a good qualifying effort for him here. He's going to have his work cut out for him to make sure he gets those points. Speaking of guys that have the work cut out for him, AJ, not with a very good qualifying effort either. He'll start back there on row 7 with Steve Lewis. And back there as well, look at that, 2 more playoff drivers in row 8. Matt Novella, who is definitely going to need some points or a race win here today, going to start towards the back with David Owens, who, of course, is already locked into the next round with his win last week. And then we got Matthew Fritz, Joe Amato, and rounding out the field is going to be Graham McGivern, since Richard Swingle is race control.
Yep, I always find it fascinating to watch the boys that decide not to qualify. I would understand it on a super speedway, but here someplace like Dover, I would be thinking track position would be at a premium, but I understand the fear of riding in the middle of the track, especially in a elimination race, doubly so in a race that's going to determine who the championship 4 are going to be. And we are rolling, and there we go. All the boys going to bring it up on the track. And thanks to that update just a few weeks ago, we're only going to go around this place one time before we go live.
And it's going to be interesting to see here. One thing I want to note here, Mean Gene, wheel spin is a very, very, very prominent thing for starts and restarts. So let's make sure we can get away clean here, boys.
Yeah, it's something you don't want to see is that spin, especially on a guy in front of you, because they'll pile drive you. And next thing you know, you're having all kinds of situation. Number 12, Zach Panzarella. He is being shown as your leader. Pace car is bringing them around. Zach's on the inside in that teal and dark blue truck. Outside of him, Bobby Dodson in the number 32 white AC Delco. Pace car is off. We're ready to go live. We're waiting on Chad the flag man to wave him down. Keeping an eye on that number 12 to see if he can beat the 32 on this straightaway. And away we go. It is the 12 of Panzarella. Look how quickly he cuts up in front of Dodson. Dodson has to back off, and that is going to let Panzarella get a great run. Joe Volpis underneath. He'll move into second place, and then you can see Kyle Lynott quickly up into fourth. Right now, it's Panzarella taking him around 3 through 4 into the Geico restart zone. Panzarella going to lead lap number 1 here at Dover.
Man, you can already see, look at that, battling for second. Guys running different lines. Bobby Dodson, I saw Kyle Lynott do it on lap 1, run the high line. Guys further back, they're going side by side. We're going to maybe see some different lanes here, Mean Gene.
I think you have to. If you play follow the leader, you're going to finish this race exactly where you started. Of course, there's some passing done in the pits, but you can't wait. You can't hope for that. Now, the question is, Panzarella, he's off to that quick lead already. See him starting to gap the rest of the field. But how long can he keep the rubber on those tires? We've seen many, many races this season where Panzarella will get a significant lead and then watch the guys reel him in later in the race. So we'll have to keep an eye on those lap times. And as we expected, look at that, a 23:37 from Panzarella there on lap 3. Joe, that is a smoking time.
Yeah, we're going to see if it really affects his tires later in the race or not. especially on this first run. If we go green the whole way to the stage break, definitely going aggressive here. I mean, look at how big his lead is already. It's already almost up to a second and a half, and we're not even 5 laps in.
That is his MO, though. Panzarella wants to get away. He lays down hard laps. The captain and owner of DDI Racing putting on a show for the fans right now. Behind him, Joe Volpis. Volpis in fourth in the points, needing to hold that position. That finish right there would guarantee him a spot in. Bobby Dodson third, Kyle Lynott fourth, and Tommy Fox with a great start here today. Tommy's got that number 57 Ford currently in fifth place. A lot of single file racing here today. You can see as we spread them out going around turn 3 and bringing them back into 1 that these fellas are starting to put down some laps. Looks like we might be off to a slow start as far as the flagman is concerned. Oh, and no sooner do I say slow start, we're going to go side by side and have a little action. Who are you looking at back there, Joe?
Seeing the Steve Fugay there. He got the wall there going side by side with the 6 truck. I don't know if he got it good enough to where he damaged it or not, but definitely a solid hit with the wall. We're going to see if that's going to affect him or not.
Well, lap 8, I would imagine now the tires are about as good as they're going to get. They're warm, but they're not wrecked yet. I'm keeping an eye back here on other groups as well. You're right. Case of Beer, Eric Thornton, those fellas, and Steve Fugay putting on a show. You can see that gap. Look how quickly Fugay closes that gap going in. Coming out, though, Case of Beer seems to have a little bit better of a run. This is the most congestion we see on the track right now, so some excitement ought to be there. Also, you see that 27 of Dave Kirkpatrick. Dave, not known for his patience, so he might be another guy that could make some excitement here on the Monster Mile for us. We're on lap number 10, scheduled to go to 50, and somebody's on the apron. What is that? That's not Elaine, is it?
I think Joe Amato may have had an early issue there, and I'm showing him many laps down right now. We're only 10 laps in, and let's see if I look at the scoring here. I believe he's right now 5 laps down, so definitely a big issue for him in the first 10 laps of the race. It looks like somebody else had some issues too. I just saw the 32 on the apron.
Well, not what Bobby Dodson needs to happen to him today. He is slowly going down the leaderboard, now finds himself in 18th, and he looks like he has come almost to a complete stop. Little bit of smoke on the tires up that 32. Oh, he's going to bring it up into the middle of the track just to see what happens when the leader comes around.
Oh, I think he's got something severely broken in that truck. You can just see the way he's struggling to get it around the track. Look, it looks like it's driving like it's got a mind of its own there, Mean Gene. I think Jerry Rose might have possessed his truck.
Oh yeah, yep. Joe's making comment last night at Talladega. We had an Xfinity race, and the rookie in the 51 decided to take a hard left, destroying team adjacent members David Owens and Joe Volpis. Meanwhile, there it is. The 32 is officially out of the race as he does a spinneroonie in the pits and parks it. End of the day for Bobby Dodson. Up front, though, Zach Panzarella. That lead's not getting much larger now. Zach reeled her in a little bit. He's running similar times to the rest of the field, but he did manage to give himself a nice 1-second lead. Meanwhile, behind him, you can see Volpis, Lynott, and Tommy Fox. So that top 4 has stayed constant throughout the first 15 races. 15 laps of the race. So a little bit of movement in the back. Dave Kirkpatrick appears to be off of the pace. That's the number 27. Got to wonder what's happening back there in the Miller Genuine Draft truck, as his speed is just not quite up to par. Hopefully he can get that thing back on course and start to lay down some faster laps. Meanwhile, Panzarella continues to dominate. This is, again, this has been his modus operandi. This fella will get in the lead and just ghost out on the rest of the field, and then we just see, can he hold on with those tires? Ooh, little high side action right there.
Yeah, definitely got some interesting racing going on throughout the field. Dalton Geyer is starting to make his move up through the field. Of course, he needs to get himself some stage points here. So since only 19 trucks started the race, that means only the top 7 will be getting stage points here tonight, not the top 10. So he's going to need to work his way. Right now, he's still not in stage points, even though he's in 8th place. It looks like Steve Fugay is starting to get swallowed up here by a bunch of trucks.
Yeah, you look at the drivers ahead of Dalton that he needs to pass. 22, David Brenner. That was a playoff driver. David has speed in front of him. Jonathan K. Sabir, who had a second-place finish just last week. So no easy marks. There's no rubes on the track in front of Dalton, so he's going to have to earn it. You can see him trying to make battle there. Meanwhile, a little bit further ahead of them, how about Case of Beer side by side? Going to try to go underneath Tommy Fox. Makes that pass. Tommy's going to look back down below, but Case of Beer going to maintain that speed. What a nice clean pass for 5th place right there by the number 8 driver.
Yeah, he needs to get himself some good points too. Just the way this whole race is playing out here early, very early look at it. I think Sabir might be in a position where he might have to get up there and win the race, just with Joe running so well to get those points. I don't think he's going to be able to get those points unless Joe falls off the pace here, which I think he's still reeling in Panzarella at the front. Speaking of other playoff drivers, though, you see the 56 making a move on Alex Hillman. Joe Amato, who looks like he just came out of pit road. We covered him a couple laps ago, getting in the mix as well with him. Some playoff guys, though, they're starting to move forward. It took him a little time, but it looks like Novella's finally starting to make his way. He's in the top 10 now. You see Owens a couple spots behind him. Dalton a couple spots ahead of him in 7th now. They're all starting to find their way towards the front.
Well, as we continue around Green Flag Racing here on lap 22, if we could get to Green Flag pits, that's where it really gets interesting. A lot of people can learn to drive the car and turn the truck and turn it left, but coming in under green, not speeding, hitting your marks, getting in and out of that thing as fast as you can, that's a true sign of expertise by these drivers. AJ Benish still making his forward movement. Geyer did get by Brenner, and now it's AJ taking a look at the number 22 Chevrolet that he would love to get by. Ford. I'm sorry, Mr. Brenner. The number 22 Ford. Now, I don't want to put him in the wrong manufacturer. Of course, if there were Dodges, we'd all be in Dodges, right, Joe?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely have a lot of Dodges out there. That's for certain. So I want to touch on what you said there about pitting there real quick. It's very, very difficult to get down this pit road, even with the last update, I would say. As you see, it looks like Dalton's going to make a move for 6th here. So pitting is going to be very interesting. So a couple things to note. The first one is the pit window will open, is actually already open, if you want to take tires and split the stage in half. The furthest these guys can go is 40 laps on a tank of fuel. So we could see them go as far as another 15 laps. But I think some guys are going to short pit here for tires. The one thing I do want to note about pitting here, about how hard it is, personally, I know a couple seasons ago I was trying to chase down Novella and Panzarella for the win, and I overdid it myself, and pulled a move on the pit road that I probably shouldn't have. I almost wrecked myself. I was half spinning and speeding. It was a whole slew of penalties that took me from 3rd out of the top 5.
Another story developing out there right now. Look at Joe Amato. He's in that number 19. He's coming up behind AJ Benish right now. That fella must have took new tires because he is moving with a purpose, cutting through this field right now. That's that 19 of Joe Amato. We'll see how much more work. He'd have to pass a lot of guys to get back on that lead lap, especially considering others who are going to go a lap down. Matt Novella, he's going to break the seal first, bringing it down into pit road. Matt Novella, DDI number 56 Chevrolet, needing a good day on points if he thinks he is going to crack up into that top 4 and knock out Dalton Geyer or Joe Volpus. Matt Novella, he is the first guy that's going to come down and take a break. You said it, Joe. You said this is where you could split it in half. And that looks like what Novella did. 15 seconds on the pit row, in the pits as well. So I'm imagining that's a 4-tire stop.
Definitely. If you're pitting this early, I would say you're definitely taking tires. If you're going to take fuel only, you're going to want to run it out all 40 laps. As you see, Case of Beer, he's going to come down pit road now as well. The one thing these guys are now susceptible to is if a caution comes out, because they are going to be 2 laps down after their pit stop. So a lot of risk reward here by pitting this early.
Other drivers going to be facing other difficulties pretty quickly. You can see Kirkpatrick now finding himself 19 seconds behind the leader. They're only running about a 25-second lap. So it is entirely possible with this pace he could find himself in the hot seat as Panzarella continues to rip around. 25 seconds, 25.3 seconds that last lap. So already you can see an almost 2-second drop-off between Panzarella's best lap.
Oh, the 22's around, nosing in the inside wall.
David Brenner, early playoff driver. He's eliminated, but that guy has speed. And now it happens. Now the fellas that pit wonder what happens. There's Steve Fugay. I imagine there's colorful metaphors coming from the 94 driver as he'll find himself multiple laps down. Brenner gets it rolling again, but he looks like he's playing Spy Hunter. Look at the oil hitting the track.
All right, so the one thing I'm noting here is, did Steve get out of pit road before Zach Panzarella put him a second lap down? Let's see if Steve goes around him or not here. Steve just got a huge break. It looks like he's going to be able to go around. Looks like he's just going to be 1 lap down, I believe, unless he gets to the... It's allowing him the pace car, so he's going to be able to stay out here while everybody else pits. I think he's going to be waved around back to the lead lap. So this might have worked out pretty... He got a lucky break here that Novella and Case of Beer probably won't get.
So we're going to see all the leaders come down to pit row. We will tell you exactly who's going to be where once they come out. I imagine, though, since we're at that midway part, let's take tires, boys. You're already 2 seconds off of your pace from when we started, so put those tires on. Don't want to lose 2 seconds a lap to the rest of the field. Keeping an eye on Steve Fugay if he will be able to stay on that lead lap. Meanwhile, David Brenner in there getting a little bit of repair on that truck. Rough break for Brenner. He's rolling again, so I'm imagining fast repairs coming into full effect here today.
So a couple different strategies here. So this race does allow an extra set of tires since it's a longer one with the higher tire dag and everything. So there's 4 additional tire sets for tonight's, or yeah, 3. I can't remember. I think it's 3 or 4. Now I'm trying to think. Man, Mean Gene, you got me in my head that I can't remember things.
Now let me ask you this though: if you got extra set of tires, why didn't Benish and Owens use them? Those fellas, 7.8, 6.91 respectively. Yeah, they're in the front, but it looks like they only took right side tires. Same thing for Case of Beer. As he came down, looks like he only got right sides as well. Different strategies coming to fruition here today. We'll say if it was a good strategy or not about 4 laps into the run, though.
So that was definitely fuel only. They're saving a set of tires for the end. That's the big thing here. So they didn't want to waste a set of tires here early, because you got to remember, we're still going to have to pit at the stage, and then there's 2 more pit stops after that. So it is 4 additional sets of tires. So they wanted to make sure they had an additional one for the end. Everybody else that took tires here, if they want to, have a pit, a set in the pits at the end, they're going to have to find, most likely they're going to have to not take tires for the stage break.
Gonna be difficult, especially 14 laps or so remaining when we go green. If they're losing 2 seconds a lap, that is an entire lap. They could find themselves a lap down, unless, of course, they start blocking like the Great Wall of China. We know how good that was against Attila the Hun and those boys. So we'll find out what's going to happen. Banesh is currently shown as your leader. Lights are off the pace car as we bring him around lap 34. About to start lap 35. Let's keep an eye on that number 5 truck, as he is going to be your control truck. Leads him into the Geico restart zone. Late start by Benish, and that's going to surprise the field. Spins him, cuts in front of Owens. Look down below. Look at Panzarella. Lynott sticks his nose in there. Owens on the outside, hating life. Inside lane, AJ Benish, but look at the speed of Panzarella. Owens touches, and we look like we're spinning. It's Tommy Fox back there. Oh, no, and that is going to bring out a quick caution on the restart. Tommy Fox, unfortunate. The 11 of Owens into the wall. Tommy Fox is spinning, and nobody's happier than Benish only losing 3 spots. But Owens, got to be unhappy.
So looking back at what happened there, looked like 3 wide gone wrong. Thornton made contact with the 11. The 11 slid up into the outside wall and then clipped the 57 down the backstretch. So both of them not having a good time here, unfortunately. So Owens is in a good spot, though, since he won last week. So he doesn't have to worry about playoff points. Tough break, though, for Tommy Fox, who was running up front.
David Brenner is going to be given the lucky dog, I believe, after that incident. That will put 16 trucks back on the lead lap. Meanwhile, Matt Novella trying to get his way back. Amato, of course, multiple laps down after his early fiasco. So we'll see. Coming back into the pits, there's Kirkpatrick, Fox, and Owens. I'm sure all of those are damage related. Kirkpatrick, remember, he lost a great deal of speed early on in the run, stayed on the lead lap, so he's got to be very happy about this opportunity to hammer down and get a little bit more work on that number 27 Ford. Meanwhile, Panzarella, he quickly took the lead right back, but that's something you would expect with those fresh tires, wouldn't you say, Joe? I mean, no spinning, just straight speed.
So I think what really helped him there, though, was AJ had a horrible restart where the wheel spin, he almost ended up wrecking the whole outside lane there. Great job by him being able to save it, and Owens to have the wherewithal to not run him over either. Definitely could have been a lot worse than what it was. But what it did is it opened up a hole for Panzarella and Lynott to both get through. As now they'll be 1-2 for this restart. You see Benish there. He's in third. He's on those older tires.
Yep, he'll be having Vulpes next to him. Next row, Thornton and Geyer. Matthew Fritz up into 7th. Been a minute since we've called that name. Right next to him, Captain Crunch, Steve Lewis. So Fritz and Lewis, that 4th lane, we haven't got to talk about them very much. But there they are. Right now, the 97 and the 88, 95, Fritz running the 95 Chevrolet Ford. And we'll see if those two boys can make their way forward on those fresher tires. But up front, though, still Zach Panzarella. Didn't take him long to get back. But remember what Joe said, folks. If there's late cautions, guys saving extra set of tires could definitely come into this. Looks like David Owens is out. Am I reading this correctly? Oh, no, he's back. He's out of the pit. Out of the pit. It's like, what in the world? All right, lights are off. They're going to come under the Ally walkway, waiting for the pace car to get out of our way so we can go back to racing. Lap 38, remember, there will be a stage break at the end of lap 50. Pace car out of the way. Panzarella's going to lead them around. About to come into that Geico restart zone. Keeping an eye on that inside number 12 truck as he hits it, and away he goes. He hits it hard at the middle. Gonna pull away from Lynott. Lynott on the outside with a terrible start. Vulpes, though, gonna fall into line right now. Single file, first 3 trucks, then side by side. Look at the speed of Geyer. AJ Benish, he's got to be regretting not taking tires. You can see how quickly Thornton is behind him as well. Up front, still Panzarella. Lynott and Vulpes, though, got into a little bit of a race. Look at the speed now, though, of Lynott and Vulpes closing the gap up on Panzarella. Panzarella by himself up front. Not anymore. He's got 2 new friends. That's the 988 and the 13 of Vulpes. Then there's a slight gap to Dalton Geyer. Eric Thornton. Fritz moves up to 6. Lewis up to 7. Sabir 8, AJ Benish 9, Alex Hillman. That is your top 10. And look at Benish going the wrong way. God, he's got to be hating those tires. Hold on, AJ. You only got to make it another 10 laps until the stage break. Don't get lapped. Meanwhile, look at the 57 of Fox go by him. Looks like Tommy Fox has got his truck back together, and he's back up to race speed. Steve Lewis outside right there with Steve Fugay. Louis wiggles, but holds on. Hold on, Louis. Just 9 more laps until we're going to take a little break.
Looks like Zach's starting to open up that gap again a little bit. Looks like Kyle might be struggling a little bit, trying a different line and trying to see if he can get some momentum on the outside in these corners. See if maybe he can do something a little different than Zach, get some clean air, and try and work his way back to him with some momentum.
Well, and he's fortunate that the truck behind him is basically in a race with Geyer behind him, knowing that if he can hold on to this position, he should be fine. I don't think that we'll see Vulpes take very many chances with Lynott at this stage of the race. So Kyle has a little wiggle room. And there goes Vulpes. He's going to take it low. Clean pass. Whatever Kyle's trying to figure out right there, it ain't working. It's like me doing a math formula in 9th grade geometry. Not working. Better go back to the chalkboard. Meanwhile, Geyer in the back is starting to have a little bit of a dance with Eric Thornton, as Thornton has got his number 6 Ford up into that 5th spot. Geyer needs to find a little more speed. 7 spots will get those playoff points. Sabir holding on to that number 7 spot right now. Got to be happy about that, but look how tight those boys are directly behind him. Hillman, Graham, McGivern, Tommy Fox, Steve Fugay. Really a little bit of a logjam right there behind Sabir. You know what they say, Joe? If you've got a bunch of cars behind you and none directly in front of you, you might not be going very fast.
Yeah, it looks like some of these guys are taking it a little easy, though. Definitely don't want to do anything too rash and create another wreck, especially with how close they are. So, looks like some good racing here. We're going to see if maybe some guys can make a move. The one thing I'm going to note here, though, is, Sabir might be happy about being in 7th, but not really, because the 2 guys he's facing in points are both in front of him. Dalton in 4th, Vulpes in 2nd. So even though he's going to get a stage point here, he's not going to gain anything on the drivers he needs to.
Well, how about this then? Maybe he's just thinking about those tires, since he did take tires back on lap 30. Lap 32. He's thinking, I can't take tires on the stage break. I might as well chill out right now, try to save a little bit extra rubber so I don't fall back too far. 1 point is not worth extra speed for 10 laps, right?
Yeah, so we're going to see what these guys do here. We got 2 to go, 1.5 to go now on the stage. So he might be trying to take it easy and not take tires here at the stage. That could be a strategy call. We're going to see what these guys do, because obviously everybody except for AJ and Owens have put tires on at some point in this race. So, everybody else is going to be interesting to see if they take tires here or not.
Meanwhile, who took tires? Zach Panzarella took tires. He's going to bring him out of lap turn number 2. He's still got that lead over Vulpes of a half a second. Vulpes got to be content to be in 2nd. Going into turn number 3, it's Zach Panzarella in the lead, coming out of 4, looking smooth. Going to take the stage. Congratulations, Zach Panzarella. Joe Vulpes going to finish 2nd. Kyle Lynott 3rd. Dalton Geyer going to come across in 4th. Eric Thornton 5th, Matthew Fritz in 6th, and yes, indeed, he did it. Jonathan Sabir is going to be awarded that final point for that 7th place finish. Behind him, Hillman, McGivern, Tommy Fox. That is going to be your top 10 after 50 laps here at Dover Motor Speedway. Remember, it is the final elimination. Last chance to get into the championship round. David Owens, on the power of his Daytona win last week, is into the final. Zach Panzarella looking like he could do it with a win here today after that dominant first stage, but Panzo is up top on points. Vulpes trying to get in on points. Dalton Geyer trying to get in on points. And the guys chasing him, Sabir And oh no, Matty Novella cannot be happy. Matt Novella finishing 17th, a lap down.
Well, he will be happy, though, because he's about to be back on the lead lap here. We're going to see who takes tires and who doesn't. Just going to note the playoff picture as these guys come down pit road. Now Vulpes is only 1 point behind Geyer for that third spot. So if somebody new does win, that would be the cutoff battle. Let's see who takes tires here and who doesn't. Some of these guys, after this pit stop, might be down to 2 sets there, Mean Gene.
That would be interesting to see if drivers who already took tires decided to do it again. And look at that.
They
Panzarella taking right sides. It's down. And let's see if he takes left sides. He does. Vulpes also taking all 4. So lots of fellas deciding on the part of excitement and speed rather than risk going down laps. And you can't blame them. We haven't had a lot of cautions here. If you come out and you're 2 seconds slower than everybody, you could be involved in a wreck. Or if there's no wrecks, you could easily just fall behind and just get lapped that quickly. So lots of chances being taken here, lots of strategies being employed, waiting to see some lap times here. How about this? Kyle Lynott, 7-second pit stop. That means gas only. Dalton Geyer, 9-second pit stop, gas only. Ooh, Steve Fugay, 7-second pit stop, gas only. Other than that, everybody else looking like they took tires. Ooh, Matt Novella, 6.32 seconds. No tires, gas only.
So, yeah, definitely going to note who has 3 sets left then. So, Lynott and Geyer on the front row still have 3 sets. Then AJ and Owens, who are further back, they also have 3 sets since they didn't take tires under that first caution there. And then, of course, Novella didn't take tires. He took tires before the caution, and he didn't take tires here. So he's also at 3 sets. So 5 guys have an extra set than everybody else. Oh, Steve Ugay as well. So 6 guys, I'm sorry.
Yep. So this portion of the race is brought to you by Zach Clausen Racing. That's right. Most talked about rookie since Dale Earnhardt Jr., Zach Clausen, coming soon to a track near you. Up front, Kyle Lynott on the power of the no tires next to Dalton Geyer. I figured Dalton, though, and Kyle, both these guys needed to take a risk. Dalton doesn't want to get caught behind Joe. Joe Vulpes clearly with a faster car today. Going to need to do something else. Away we go. Kyle Lynott off to a clean start on that outside. He brings Steve Fugay with him. Fugay is racing for position with Geyer. Geyer underneath. Fugay's going to keep it up top. Lynott slowly pulling away with a 5-car truck length lead. Look at Panzarella's going to take it 3 wide. He swerves down. It's 3 wide. Up Geyer goes into Fugay. Panzarella holds the apron. Look at Vulpes behind. Oh, and Geyer slams down, loses control, swerves right into Vulpes. Contact. That was horrid right there. Dalton Geyer taking a risk, trying to make it work with no tires. And what happens? He loses control, slams down in front of Vulpes. Let's keep an eye and see what kind of damage both of those guys have. Very unfortunate right there just to lose control that quickly, especially considering that he needs those points. Vulpes still has that truck moving. We'll see if he needs to come in and get it checked out. I don't think Vulpes has any teammates around him that could give it a quick eyeball. So we'll see if he's going to bring that 13 truck down pit lane. Meanwhile, up front, Panzarella going to be cruising around in first again. Oh, I'm sorry, Lynott. Kyle Lynott. He's got to be happy. Matthew Fritz going to bring it down. Dave Kirkpatrick bringing it down. And Dalton Geyer bringing it down to get it picked. Now, why you think Fritz coming down? I didn't see him involved in that. Is he just getting a little touch and go of the gas?
He might have had some damage from something else. Definitely looks like he's sitting there trying to fix some damage. I think the 27, I think he came down there as well. I would say Kirkpatrick's probably in the same boat. And, of course, Geyer definitely got damage there. Looks like Vulpes thought if he got any damage, he's fine. Amato just got another lap back. He's only 3 down now, so I mean, if we keep having cautions like this, he might come back on the lead lap here pretty soon.
Yep, number 19, Joe Amato, running that checkers or wreckers paint scheme here today. Speaking of checkers or records, that's our leader, Kyle Lynott, in the 988 Ford. That guy needs a win here today if he wants his adventure to continue. He cannot, will not accept defeat. He is going to push that thing as hard as he can, trying to find his way into the Final Four next weekend here at on MRL at Kentucky. Lynott choosing the outside. Let's see if his tires can handle another restart without getting into a spin. Below him, Zach Panzarella. Next row, Steve Fugate, Joe Vulpes. Behind them, Casabir Thornton, Alex Hillman, Tommy Fox, row 4, and AJ Binish and Graham McGivern in row number 5. And AJ, with fresh tires, can now start to lay down some burners. Remember, he chose to not get them on that caution lap 32 when everybody else came down. So AJ has, what, one spare just in case?
Yeah, he has an extra set along with, of course, Lynott and Steve at the front as well. And Owens a little further back. Not sure if Geyer took tires there or not, so he might be on the same amount of sets as everybody else now as well.
Well, I would rather be in the I saved a set category with Owens and Binish than the others because they're still on them old tires. Here we go. Pace car is out of the way. Keeping an eye on Lynott on the outside. He is your controlled truck, bringing it into the Geico restart zone. He starts at the 1/3 mark, and look at him drag race his way across that start-finish line. He's so fast, he leaves behind Panzarella and Vulpes to go side by side. Inside lane gets an early advantage for Panzarella. Outside lane now building momentum for Vulpes. Single file, it's going to be Kyle Lynott leading against Panzarella. Panzarella with a head of steam brings it right up onto the back edge. But look how good Lynott rolls through. Lynott gonna lead lap number 60. We're going to lap 150. 91 laps remaining. Look at Panzarella on the outside now, trying to put pressure on Lynott with the older tires. Vulpes trying to make up his mind who's going to be quicker. And now Jonathan Casabir coming in there to make Vulpes' decision-making that much harder. Side by side, Lynott gets loose. Panzarella gets the advantage. Oh, Vulpes brings it up in front of Casabir. Everybody, hold on, boys. It's a long race. Vulpes now gets by Lynott, and now the battle begins for Lynott, trying to keep it on the straight and narrow. When's he going to pit with those older tires, Joe? What's he got to do?
Well, he's going to have to go a far distance here, I'd say, on this set of tires. Have to go at least another 10 laps to get in the window to make it on one stop. But with the way the tires really play out here, he needs to go at least, I'd say, the lap 80 to be good.
19 laps away from that. Gonna be an adventure for the 988 as he's already fallen himself back into 4th. And now he's got Steve Fugate and an aggressive Alex Hillman behind him. AJ Binish, Eric Thornton. Look at that move by Binish. Binish on fresh tires. He's been like a thoroughbred horse held back without the rubbers, but now he's got freshies and he is charging hard. Let's go back and look at Dalton Geyer now. Dalton, who was caught up in that wreck, trying to make his way back up. I don't see the speed right now out of that 36. He's going to need some help. He's going to need a caution or something to happen to allow him to get a little bit more work done on that truck. Finds himself in 15th behind David Owens and Steve Lewis. Oh, he gets side by side with Lewis, and Lewis is going to fade away. And Kirkpatrick goes by as well. I hope everything's okay for Captain Crunch in that 88.
Yeah, so with the way they're sitting right now, I think Dalton's actually on the outside looking in, and Casabir would get him on points for the 4th spot. So Dalton definitely going to need to make up some spots if this thing goes green from here on out. He's got his work cut out for him as the 94 gets the wall further back.
Oh, and look at them now as they spread apart, too wide as they find contact with that wall. Steve Fugate, hold on, buddy. You got a little bit more to go before we get to another tire break, so you can take a little bit of a rest. Look at Owens. Geyer now going to take it 3 wide. He's got McGivern on the outside, Kirkpatrick on the inside, and now it's Novella and David Owens, Steve Fugate on the outside. This is a madhouse.
Man, these guys are getting really racy. A lot of 3 wide action going on there. Definitely want to get some 3 wide again here, Mean Gene. Maybe no. We're gonna back out of that one.
No.
Some guys just trying to get some better track position. David Owens, he was running up front before he decided to do the strategy that he did on the tires. Now he's back here battling for 10th. Dalton, after that caution there that he was involved in, he's trying to now work his way forward as it gets really tight with the 94.
Other contact on the track. We saw Lewis go into the door of Novella, sending Novella up into the wall as well. Such contact going on between all of these racers here today.
Man, these guys are racing really hard right now. I think the 94 might be ailing a little bit from some damage. Definitely looks like he's fallen way, way, way off the pace. He looks very, very tight, and he gets clipped by the 33. Into the outside wall. It's a caution.
Graham McGivern, driver of the 33 truck, making contact there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna have to go back and take a gander at that one there. I don't know if the 94 the angle wasn't the greatest to see. It looked like the 94 may have come down, but I don't want to say that without taking a closer look at it.
I'm listening to the radio. McGivern is under that belief right now. He thought that the 94 might have come down on him a little bit early there. It
looks like the 94 was just struggling there, looking back at it, and he tried to just take that position into the corner. I don't think Graham expected him to come down the way that he did at the pace that he did. Just struggle. I think the 94 is just struggling with that right front damage that he had, and just some unfortunate contact then between the two of them. Definitely not something that I think either one of them wanted, because now the 33's got a little front end damage, and the 94 is going to have to use a fast repair, I would imagine.
Well, it's our open. This is a little bit earlier than Kyle Lynott would have liked to have seen, though, as far as his tire wear goes. I think Lynott would have liked to have seen this go about 10 more laps before coming in. But let's see if Lynott makes that decision. He did drop down into 8th. So decision time for the 988. Do you take those tires or do you push it more? You need the win. I would imagine he's going to push it more rather than think of position, right?
Yeah, so we're definitely going to see here. So remember, some of these guys only have 2 sets left. Zach Panzarella only has 2 sets. He's taking a set here. He's got 1 set left. Vulpes doesn't take a set. It looks like a lot of guys are taking fuel only. But you see, of course, Kyle's taking a set to go down to 2.
Yep.
I think Panzarella is going to be on 1 for the rest of the race. So really, really bold. We're not even halfway into the race. And Zach Panzarella has already used 3 sets of tires. So, he's had dominant speed here today, leading most of the race. But only 1 set of tires for the remaining laps. That is not going to be very favorable if there's cautions.
Well, we've seen Panzarella do this before on the shorter tracks. I believe it was New Hampshire, I want to say, where he took tires early and did not have them later in the run. So not a surprise to see him taking the chance on the early tires. But as you said, Joe, it could really come back and bite you in the behind later in the race, especially if boys are on freshies and you're on a set of 35 plus lap tires.
Yeah, we're going to see how that all plays out. So all these guys up front took fuel only. I think you had the pit times in front of you there. So, AJ, I believe, is the first one that's on 4 tires, if I'm not mistaken there, Mean Gene.
Maybe Case of Beer. I'm showing him in 5th.
Okay, so he's on the first tires. I think he had an extra set, so he's good. Of course, Panzarella is only going to have 1 set left, like we talked about. But I think everybody else that took tires or didn't take tires has 2 sets left for the rest of the race. So Zach has put himself in a bit of a bind here. We'll see if it plays out for him, though. If it goes green, it's going to play out great for him.
Well, another person that had to be okay with that little caution there, Joe Amato. Joe Amato got another lap back, so he just needs another couple, and he'll be back in this thing. Pace car is off. Joe Vulpes is your control truck on the outside. The number 13 Ford going to lead him around. Eric Thornton next to him, and away goes Vulpes. He taps the wall just to make sure it's really there. It is, Joe. It's not a figment of your imagination. Vulpes going to hold on to the lead, leading Thornton. Brenner comes down there. Really bad angle by Brenner going into the turn. He's going to lose position to Jonathan K. Severe. Up front, it's Vulpes, and then side by side, 2 rows deep. Oh, my, and look at the 22 get a little bit high. Joe Amato gonna lay down in a protest on the restart. That ought to be fun for the MRL officials to take a little look at. I guess they're saying somebody changed lanes before they hit that restart zone. Meanwhile, up front, it continues to be Joe Vulpes and Jonathan K. Sabir doing battle. Zach Panzarella behind them. Alex Hillman now making his way up into the top 4. Eric Thornton, AJ Benish, he's in 6. Oh, and look at that as, was that Lanat went up high, did a Tokyo drift and hit the wall. That was exciting.
And it looks like a new leader is about to take place. Vulpes on a little older tires. I don't think he's going to be able to hold him off. There goes Casabir around without a fight. Same with Panzarella. And it looks like Hillman might get him too. That's going to be Team DDI 1, 2, 3 here in a second.
Oh, yes. Again, DDI versus the world, and we see it there. Vulpes in 4th, Benish in 5th. Benish on the newer tires needs to get by, make his way up to the front, and start to make battle. Here comes Dalton Geyer on Freshies. He is running a burner there. He's got Eric Thornton with him. So Benish in front of Vulpes, and then here comes Dalton Geyer, and then Thornton behind them side by side. Lanat and Kirkpatrick. Looks like Lanat has recovered from that little slippery adventure that he had. Ooh, side by side, Vulpes on the older tires is going to give up that position to Dalton Geyer. Up front, Panzarella continuing to have a DDI parade with K. Sabir and Hillman behind him. Oh, looks like we're getting loose right there.
I think it was the 94 truck had a huge moment there off turn 4. He lost a bunch of spots, back to 15th now. Steve's got his work cut out for him, after that fast repair and everything. And getting loose there is not going to help him that much either. But look at the trucks in front of him. What a gaggle of trucks there from, looks like 8th on back.
Yeah, they are still trying to figure out exactly what's going to happen. And you've got the Vulpes truck moving backwards slowly with those older tires. There's Owens and Steve Lewis side by side. Lewis losing positions as he is on that high line. Steve Fugay now under Lewis. That looked scary right there as you saw a little bit of loose.
Man, Graham did a great job saving it there off turn 4.
Yes, he did.
One thing to note here, though, I think Vulpes is struggling a little bit more than these guys that he stayed out with. I think he may have had a little damage from the Dalton incident that he hasn't fixed yet, and it looks like it's starting to show.
No opportunity really to do any repair on that truck. Meanwhile, look at Novella right into the back of the 22 of David Brenner. I didn't know you bump draft at Dover, but here we are. A little bit of bump drafting. Meanwhile, David Owens behind them, and then Steve Fugay and Steve Lewis. That is 11th through 14th position. Vulpes still, Novella trying to make that inside lane work. And look at Brenner fading backward a little bit. So it looks like that inside lane is a little bit quicker than running on the outside. But the question is tire wear. Are they saving tire by being on that outside, or is this just a matter of where you ended up?
It's definitely just a matter of where you ended up. You want to be running the bottom at all times. You see the guys on the outside are pretty much the guys on the older tires falling back. Thornton's doing a good job holding on. He's only fallen to 8th. But Vulpes down to 11th, Brenner's down to 13th. They are not having a good time at all. And Tommy Fox is actually the last truck on the lead lap right now in 17th.
Yeah, Tommy finds himself 8 seconds behind Panzarella. Zach has once again got out to a big lead. He's got a 1.6 second lead over Jonathan K. Sabir. Alex Hillman 2 seconds back with A.J. Benish, then Dalton Geyer in 5th. But again, tires are going to come into effect. Only lap 86 of 150. So we still got 65 laps to go. And some boys only have one set of tires.
Yeah, so we're going to see if this plays out or not for them strategy-wise. You know, Zach's leading this race by a good margin, but he's only got one set of tires left for the rest of this race. As you see a good battle here just outside the top 10 from 12th on back. Some guys on old tires, guys on new tires. Definitely some different strategies going on here.
Yeah, right there around Joe Vulpes, it is getting interesting. I think you're right. Oh, and contact as McGivern comes down and whacks Joe Vulpes. The flag is going to come out, and that'll give folks an opportunity to evaluate where they are, fuel and tire-wise. But still, lots of laps to go. 63 laps remaining here today. This is not going to be the last fuel pit stop.
No, it is not, because we only can go 40 laps on a set of for a fuel run. But you know what? You know what, Mean Gene? Zach is in a really, really bad spot because he only has one set of tires left. He can't pit here. Everybody with 2 sets of tires, if they want to come down and take some more tires, they can, but he cannot. So Zach is going to be on the back foot here for the last 60 laps if it goes green.
Yeah, if you got 2 sets, you could come down now and run about 28, pit again, and run about another 28. So
definitely going to be interesting to see who comes and who doesn't. Let's see what happens.
Oh, and there's Joe Amato. He's coming around. He says, I'm going to come, and he's going to come right around that pace car and get another lap back. Will that put him back on the lead lap, or is he still going to be 1 down?
He's going to get his way back to 1 lap down. So one more caution, actually, and he'll be back on the lead lap.
Ooh,
all right, we got some strategy here. So we see, it looks like the 12 stayed out, the 8 stayed out, the 08, the 36, and the 988, and the 27 as well. So we know Zach has 1 set left. I believe Sabir, Hillman, Geyer, Lynott, and Kirkpatrick all have 2. So they're uber saving sets if they have 2 left. These guys all have 2 sets left that you're seeing on pit road right now, and they're about to bring themselves down to 1 with this pit stop.
All right, so let's keep an eye on what's going to happen. I got an eye on Vulpes up front. He is taking right sides at the moment. Let's see if he's going to take lefts. Hey, why not? They are going to do 4-tire pit stop. Looks like Tommy Fox also taking advantage of this opportunity. He's going to take all tires as well. But other guys, looks like they didn't. I don't know why you would just take gas and not tires, but I'm not driving today.
One thing I did notice there is Vulpes definitely had a little bit of damage. I think I saw the bottom part of the splitter pop back out as he sat there for a few extra seconds. So I think he may have gotten his truck fixed. So definitely a lucky break that the caution did come out there for that incident to get that rest of that fixed.
All right. I can smell trouble now for Joe Amato's quest to get back on the lead lap, because now it looks like Graham McGivern is going to be shown a lap down as well. So Amato is going to have a race. That's the 19 and the 33. We'll call that the race within the race within the race. Because, of course, the race within the race is the playoffs.
Well, so definitely with where we're sitting right now, Sabir is going to be in the final spot of the playoffs since Vulpes is back in 15th. So right now he would have enough points to pass Vulpes for the 4th spot, even without winning.
So lots of stuff going on down here as we are seeing how exactly the points are going to unfold. Race far from over, of course, as we've still got 60 laps to go. 60 laps. And some people are going to try to push those tires as far as they can before they take that final set. People who are still looking for that win, Kyle Lynott, he's found his way back up into 5th place. That's that 988 truck that you see right there on the inside, 5th place. Pace car is off. We're keeping an eye on Panzarella. He's in that number 12 on the outside lane. Going to bring that bow tie around into the Geico restart zone, and away he goes. Great start by Panzarella, and he's going to bring it down in front of Case of Beer. Case of Beer crosses over the upward to be on the outside lane. Let's see if he can find speed there as Panzarella cuts in front of him. What a block by the DDI teammates. 3rd place, Alex Hillman. 4th place, Dalton Geyer. It's a DDI front road block. Kyle Lynott trying to fight his way through. Panzarella still going to be in the lead with Case of Beer behind him. Alex Hillman, Lynott, Steve Fugay now makes his way up into the 5. There is Panzarella. He's going to lead lap number 93 here at Dover International Speedway.
Well, you're going to start seeing these guys on fresh tires working their way forward. I think Kyle Lynott took tires there. So it looks like he's the first one through. AJ right behind him on fresh. I'm not sure if Kyle took tires or not. I know AJ did as the 988 gets really loose. AJ's the first one on freshies. Steve as well on freshies. Matt Novella coming through on freshies. Eric Thornton, David Owens, all on fresh tires trying to come up through this field as fast as possible.
Still a lot of racing here to be done today. The question is, how long can Panzarella ride on these tires before he has to go down for that final set? Well, he would love that caution to control it. Meanwhile, you know who doesn't want a caution? And that's AJ Benish. AJ now making his way up into 3rd place. The number 5 Chevrolet needs a win to advance into the final round, and he has closed the gap to the number 8 truck immediately. He's that green truck riding around in 3rd. Ooh, the 8 gets loose in front of him. Benish looking down low, but Case of Beer continuing to block for his captain up front, Zach Panzarella. Matt Novella in 4th, Eric Thornton 5th. David Owens now making his way into 6th, up 10 spots. That was scary, Joe.
That was a bold block there. It's not going to work out, though, for Case of Beer. AJ is going to get to his inside. AJ is going to be the first guy through on fresh tires. This is going to change everything for this battle in the playoff picture. If AJ gets up there and is able to he's going to be able to take the lead here, I think, from Zach, and that's going to flip everything upside down.
It will. If AJ can get up into the front, all of a sudden, that means the number 8 driver in standings would jump up into the final round. Only 2 guys would point their way in. One would be Panzarella, and then after that, would it be Vulpes? Would it be Guy, or would it be Case of Beer? Case of Beer currently being shown in 5th place. Dalton Geyer back in 13th, and Vulpes has made his way up into 10th. You know, Vulpes has to be happy about being on fresh tires and having that that truck repaired. Meanwhile, Benish gonna take the lead. He takes the apron, makes his way around Dover. Lap 99 is when AJ Benish takes the lead from Panzarella. Meanwhile, look at the roadblock behind him. It's congested like I-20 traffic. Novella, Thornton, David Owens. Here comes Case of Beer now. Oh, contact between Graham McGivern and Joe Amato in the back. Everybody's going to keep going, but that was scary. Remember, those 2 are fighting for the lucky dog position back in the field, so we'll have to keep an eye on that and see if McGivern decides eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, spin for a spin. Speaking of spinning, they're spinning around the front of the track. AJ Benish now trying to get a little bit of a gap over Novella. 0.8 seconds. That's a lead. And look at him pulling away, Joe.
Yeah, so this is very, very crucial. So AJ, of course, in a must-win. The guy right behind him, Novella, after those stage points for Vulpes and Geyer, I'd say he's in a must-win here as well to get up there. So those 2 pretty much right now are going to be battling for that 4th spot. As Case of Beer right now with where he's running compared to Vulpes and Geyer, he's not in a spot right now where he would make it in on points. That 4th spot right now would go back to Vulpes on points.
And Vulpes moving up the field slowly. He is in 7th, only 3 seconds behind the leader. So Benish content where he is. This is a lap 102. Still going to have 47 laps remaining here today at Dover International. Matt Novella trying to close the gap, but it's getting bigger. Finish just laying it down right now. Eric Thornton, David Owens, and Zach Panzarella has now fallen back into fifth. I think Zach is in full triage mode, just waiting until he can get on those tires.
Yeah, so the pit window, the very, very early window, and we're still about 6 or 7 laps away from that. If you really want to have a good chance to run to the end on that last set of tires and be fast for the rest of the race, you're going to probably have to wait about another 15 to 20 laps. Zach does not have that luxury, though, in his situation. He's going to have to pit as soon as it opens if he wants a chance to get up there again to win the race. Going back to just that battle towards the front, AJ's starting to pull away. I'd say AJ Binish is probably top 3 on my list of drivers that I would not want to see get clean air here tonight, especially with how good he is at Dover. So Matt Novella is going to need to maybe do some pit strategy if he wants to get around him to get this race win.
Number 56 Chevrolet, Matt Novella. We have seen him use pit strategy before, and we've also seen the guy just go on a streak like James Harden with the Houston Rockets, multiple 60-point games. That's what we've seen out of the 56 before. Would not be surprised if Matt Novella could find lightning in a bottle and repeat it here today at Dover. But he's going to need one more good set of tires at just the right time to make sure that he can move up. Speaking of moving up, look at Vulpes and Brenner racing now. Tommy Fox got his truck repaired. He's back in this as well. But Vulpes with the slow, steady climb. Chaos is a ladder. Not all men can go up, and Vulpes seeing his opportunity, making his way through the chaos back up into the 5th position. David Brenner with a good run in 6th, and Tommy Fox 7. Behind them, Panzarella now with a gap. He can breathe a little bit, Joe. It makes it a lot easier on those old tires if you can just run that line that you're used to, that preferred line. And Panzarella could easily make his way around this track 20 more times if he doesn't have to worry about putting up with a fight. He's got his teammate Case of Beer back there again, so perhaps he can protect him long enough. But if I'm Jonathan Case of Beer, you got to start thinking about your own survival as well, right?
I think all those guys, though, they're in this situation where they want another caution here because they have that extra set of tires to throw on now in their favor, except for Zach. He's on one set just like everybody else that pitted there under that caution that blew past him. So Zach right now, I'd say, is in the most unenviable spot, being on one set of tires, falling off the pace. Everybody behind Zach, though, is in a decent spot if there's a caution. And then pretty much everybody in front of him is in the catbird seat if there's no cautions.
So people only have one set of tires left. Is that correct? No one has 2?
So the top 8 definitely have one set of tires left because either they've taken them at one time or another, whether it be that last caution or Zach took them on the first 3 cautions, I believe. Then everybody behind, so, Casebeer, Lewis, Lynott, Fugay, Fritz, Geyer, I believe they all still have 2 sets of tires left here. So a caution would flip the race back into their favor. Actually, check that on Geyer. He might only have 1 set of tires left. So definitely going to see if this race flips back into their favor or not. And see, because they're going to need a caution, though, for it to flip. Either that or they're going to need to make a miracle happen here on this pit cycle. It looks like somebody's already coming down.
Dalton Geyer, 13 seconds behind the leader, and only 1 set of tires remaining. Not the day that the number 3 points standing driver needed here, and that is, of course, the number 36 Chevrolet, needing a caution to get back into this thing. Dave Kirkpatrick, he is the truck down there on pit lane. That's the number 27 Miller Genuine Draft Chevrolet. Looks like fuel only. I don't see him going up on those rims.
That's definitely interesting. I wonder what his tire situation.
Well, he's probably saving. Remember, we're going to 150, so there's still 45 laps remaining here today. I guess he figures there will be a caution. Steve Fugay now going to bring it down as well. That is the number 94 Chevrolet, and he's going to have Alex Hillman behind him. So we're seeing a lot of those fellas that were running mid-pack now bringing down into the pits, and we'll just have to monitor that and see what kind of tire situation is going to come. Up front, of course, Benish still with that big lead over Novella. He's got it up to 1.38 seconds now. So Benish not wanting to see any kind of caution. He would love for this thing just to be wide open. Here comes Zach Panzarella coming down into the pits as well. Dalton Geyer. Let's see if these boys choose to take pits. It's a DDI pit stop.
You got also Kyle and not on pit road here at the same time. So definitely some guys here trying to see what they can do strategy-wise. Looks like Case of Beer. I think he just ducked down pit road as well. Those guys, of course, are trying a different tire strategy here than the rest of the field. So they're going to come a little bit earlier than everybody else.
Looks like all four tires for Panzarella and Dalton Geyer. So that is going to wrap them up. They have made their bed, and now it is time to put the women and children to bed and see what they can do. AJ Benish still continuing to lead it here over Matt Novella, 1.5 seconds. He's putting down some decent laps, 25.24 that last lap. So second and a half or so off of their fastest lap times. Everybody else, though, starting to lay down a little bit slower lap. So Benish still in a good position as far as the cars that have not taken tires. He is the fastest out there, continuing to push that lead. As long as there's no caution, he's going to be a happy camper. Other boys that have made their way up now. Look at David Owens running third, Brenner in fourth, Joe Volpus in fifth, and here comes AJ. I just heard it on the radio, Joe. He's bringing it down.
Yeah, definitely. I was about to say, you know, we're going to have to see. Oh, I think he's sped. Oh, no. That looked way too fast
who
for
hit
35.
the wall? Who hit the wall back there?
Brenner hit the tire barriers. Oh, my goodness.
What did the tire barrier ever do to you, David?
I think that might be a race ender for him. That's a really tough break. A really good run going, and that's a rough way to go out here. If that really is I think that's the end of his race. Speaking of end of races, I think the 5 truck, I think his race might be over too. Let's see if he comes out with David Owens or not. If he doesn't, then we know he's got a speeding penalty.
Oh, I think he sped. Yeah, he came sliding in. He was sideways. That was ugly. Whereas David Owens, the Zero Chill himself, came in with that smooth, ice-cold water in his veins. Not a problem as the 11 takes the track again. So going to be interesting to see what happens. We lose Brenner. We lose Benish from that front row. Makes you wonder who it's going to rotate around to. Matt Novella was chasing up at the front. He remains out there on the track. Last lap was a 25.26, but the boys that pitted 23.79s, 23.8s. So you can see those lap times from those fellas that took tires much quicker now. So he's going to have to make a decision. Oh, no. Is this Benish going back in the pits for a penalty? Or is this him coming? Oh, it's him coming out. Okay.
Him coming out. He was finally released from pit road. Definitely a tough break for him there. So it looks like Steve Lewis on pit road. So pretty much me and Gene, what Fritz and Novella are hoping for right now is a caution, because that will flip the race back into their favor. Because all these guys here that are 1 lap down, they'll take the wave around to get back on the lead lap. But the guys 2 down, they're going to be trapped at least still 1 lap down, even if they take a wave around. That would work out really well in their favor to make sure they don't lose too many spots. And that could really flip this whole points battle on its head once again, as the 56 has a bit of a moment off turn 4 with 25 to go.
All right, Joe Volpus gets one of his laps back, finding himself now just 1 lap down, so he would be eligible for the wave around. Case of Beer now trying to catch up to Novella and do the same thing. Jonathan Case of Beer, the first truck, 2 laps down. So that would pin a lot of people. And look how quickly Case of Beer is going to catch and pass Novella right there. Steve Fugay next truck trying to catch Novella. Fritz going to come down. His game is over as far as stay out as long as you can. Novella still trying to push it. And you talked about this, Joe. You said Novella needed to throw a Hail Mary and try something special. I think this exactly fits what you described.
Yeah, because even if these guys all, of course, take the wave around, Novella's going to come take fresh tires, and he's going to still come out as the leader. So he'll be on fresher tires than the rest of them and be leading the race. Like, that'll put him in the perfect spot to go out there and win the race here at the end, which is exactly what he needs.
Well, the 8th place truck of Tommy Fox just passed Novella. And now Dalton Guy are currently running 9th, coming up on Novella. Novella losing a lot of time now, 25.62. The man is literally 2 seconds slower than everyone else on the track. How much longer do you think he can play this game of chicken?
Until he runs out of fuel, I think he could really do it.
He's committed.
It's going to be in a couple laps.
He's committed, right? He can't.
No, this is it. This is the bed that he's made for himself. He wants that caution to come out. This is a strategy that I tried a couple weeks ago, actually at the same track, hoping for a caution. Went as far as I could. I did not get the caution on my end, and it looks like Novella might be pitting this time with how slow he's going down the backstretch. So I don't think he's going to get it for himself either.
Nope, unfortunate. Good try there, though. Good gamesmanship by the 56, trying and just coming up a little bit short here today. Meanwhile, that is going to rotate it around to David Owens. David Owens will take over the lead once we rotate around one more lap. Zach Panzarella dominating this race in the entire first half and much of the second. Now he is chasing down David Owens. Thornton, Joe Vulpes in 5th will rotate to 4th. Casabir, Tommy Fox, Steve Fugate, Dalton Geyer. Boy, it's taken a while, though, for them to catch up, isn't it? There goes Owens.
Yep, so definitely looking at these guys, Mean Gene here. So the way the pit stops happened, Panzarella in the top 5 is on the oldest tires with Casabir. Thornton has a little bit fresher than those two, and then Owens a little bit fresher than those 3. Vulpes has the best tires by like a lap or 2, I believe, over Owens right now. So we're going to see if that makes a major difference or not. But Panzarella is in the weakest spot right now, running in 2nd tire-wise. So if he's able to catch Owens, it'll be he truly had a bunch of speed on the rest of the field. I think he's going to have his work cut out for him, though.
Yeah, Panzarella on 5-lap older tires than Owens. Vulpes 1 lap fresher. So curious to see how it will unfold. Lap 133 about to come to conclusion. 17 laps here remaining at Dover International. Battle for the championship. This is the last race before the final 4 will be chosen to do battle at Kentucky next week. Remember, David Owens is already in. If he wins, that is going again here today. That allows the next 3 positions to be determined by points. Who would they be? Zach Panzarella, currently with a good points lead and in 2nd place. Then Dalton Geyer, currently in 3rd in the points, finds himself 9th today. Joe Vulpes, 4th in points, currently running in 3rd position. So if we finish the way it is right now, we'd have to do a little math to see if Casabir closed that gap. Jonathan in 5th, but I don't think he's got enough points to take over Geyer if Geyer was to finish in 9th.
Yeah, I think Casabir would probably need a spot or 2 or need Dalton Geyer to fall a spot or 2 more in order to get that spot over him. Novella's on the freshest tires on the track right now. So we're going to see if maybe he can close in with 15 laps left. 12.5 seconds. That's a tall task to grab. Looks like Vulpes got around Panzarella for 2nd, so you see those old tires, just how much they've fallen off already. And we're going to see if 1 lap fresher is going to mean Joe can close in on Owens with 14 to go.
Matt Novella was the fastest truck on the track last lap, but only 0.4 of a second. Not going to make that up, that 12 seconds up in that amount of time. Meanwhile, David Owens with a 3.3 second lead over Joe Volpus. Last lap, Volpus was 5/100ths of a second faster, but it's going to take a little bit more than that to close that gap. You might be wondering where our must-win drivers are. AJ Benish, he is a lap down in 14th. Unfortunate for him. Don't think it's going to come to fruition today. Other must-win drivers, Kyle Lynott, currently running back in 10th place, and he is 19 seconds off the lead. Novella Quesabir, they're 6th and 7th. Not out of it yet, but with that 11-second gap, you can imagine it is a tough, steep uphill battle. David Owens in control, Joe Volpus trying to chase him down, but Owens maintaining that 3-second gap. Could it be, might we see David Owens go on another streak? This would be the time to do it. Daytona, today at Dover, next week at Kentucky, he could be a wrap. That'd be a hell of a triple crown.
Yeah, that would be a great close to the season for him. I don't think Volpus is going to have enough time or enough pace over Owens to catch him. It looks like the gap's actually starting to go back in David Owens' favor as Volpus catches some. Oh, no.
What in the world? Who was that?
I think that was some Joe on Joe crime right there.
Oh, no.
And looks like the 13's going to be barbecuing his way back around the track.
Joe Volpus, smoking Joe right there, gets caught up in an incident. I'm going to go ahead and ruin my replay and hit a rewind to see exactly what happened. Yep. All right, so I'm watching the replay. Joe Amato is ahead of him. Oh, and they just came down. Look at that. Let's go back. There's only one thing to tell you. That's the chase camera. All right, I'm watching the chase. Volpus. Oh, Amato hit the wall. Volpus comes up high, and that sudden lack of speed by Amato makes them get close to each other. Oh, and there's parts of Volpus's car everywhere. That is brutal.
All right, so we're going to see some stuff happen here. So David Owens out of tires. Panzarella out of tires. Eric Thornton out of tires. Novella's on a little bit fresher, but he's also out of tires. Same with Quesabir out of tires. Geyer's out of tires. Volpus is out of tires, but he's going to have to stop his truck from barbecuing here. Looks like Steve Lewis out of tires. He stayed out. But you know what? Look who's on pit road with Volpus as he gets his truck fixed. Steve Fugay, he's got a set left. Matt Fritz has got a set left, and so does Kyle. Kyle Lynott's got a set left. You know, he can get his way up there maybe with all these, not a lot of laps left, but, you know, he's going to have a lot fresher tires, going to be a lot faster. That would be pretty crazy, Mean Gene, if he got up there and won this thing.
Well, it is not beyond the realm of possibility. That is for sure. Remember, we are only racing to lap 150, currently on lap 143. 8 laps remaining, and there's going to be a couple that are going to be under caution. So everyone will have enough fuel. Going to have to just find out here in a moment, once they come out there, who is the person on the freshest tires.
That would be Steve Fugay. He gets out first and 10th. Fritz 11th. Lynott 12th. So right now, the way this is looking playoff-wise, Owens, Panzarella is still safe. Owens with the win, Panzarella on points. Geyer and Volpus are going to be vulnerable on old tires, along with Quesabir for that matter. If Matt Novella is able to make the gap work well enough for him without surrendering to the guys that just took tires and get up there and win, then one of those two guys is going to be out. Or Lynott can work his way through on fresh tires and pull off a Hail Mary win here as well.
Well, there's enough laps left for something interesting to happen. We're going to have to break out the Texas Instrument calculators and figure out what happens on points depending on how these last few laps go. Of course, David Owens wins this race, then there's 3 people going in on points. If Panzarella wins, he was already headed to the championship round based on points. But if Novella or Quesabir suddenly wins, we're going to have to get very inventive with our mathematics. 144 about to come to an end. Looks like the lights are off of the pace car as we are getting ready to go green here at Dover International. The pace car is off, and here we go. David Owens is your control truck. He is on the inside. That's that black number 11. Waits a long time to go. Gets struck in the rear by Eric Thornton. Look at the outside lane, all screwed up. Tommy Fox gets smashed by Novella. Joe Volpus gets hit again. God, what a day for the 13. Up front, David Owens now with a clean run. He's got about 7 truck lengths between him and Thornton. Panzarella looks below Thornton. Side by side, Panzarella, Thornton. Thornton finally gets the momentum to control the second place position. Owens out to a quick lead over the start finish line to complete lap 145. Owens, Thornton, Panzarella. Novella still in fourth, trying to move forward. Looks underneath Panzarella to take that position. Now Novella in third. He is only 1 second behind David Owens. Case of beer losing position. It might not be his day. Lynott on those fresh tires moves up to 9th, but he's 2.3 seconds behind. Only 4 laps to go. David Owens in control.
Steve Fugay's coming, though, on those fresh tires. He's up to 4th. Look at him. He's going to make a move here maybe on... No, he's going to stay in 4th, but we're coming down to the end of it. Novella's going to make a move for 2nd. Fugay's right there. Fugay on those really fresh tires. He's the first one that got through. He's in front of Lynott. We're going to see what happens here, Mean Gene. 3 to go.
3 laps to go. David Owens with a 1 second lead slowly. Oh, and Novella gets loose. It's going to collect some others. Looks like we are going to stay green, but that is going to take Novella's day and put it right in the toilet bowl. Novella fades all the way back to 11th, to 12th, to 13th, and he is going very slowly. Looks like that truck might even be going left. Up front, David Owens, he's about to finish lap 149, and that would be our white flag. Can David Owens make it around to the white flag? It would make it official, and the next flag would end this thing. He takes it. It's lap. This is the final lap. David Owens bringing it into turn 1. Steve Fugay closing the gap quickly. Fugay on those those newer tires. Owens blocking. Woo! Fugay into the back of Owens. Owens is loose. Fugay now trying to look around the top. He's got the tires. Can he hold it? He is accelerating. Steve Fugay, no! They're wrecking behind him. Owens finishes in 2nd backwards. Matthew Fritz 3rd, Lynott 4th, Eric Thornton 5th. But how about Steve Fugay? Steve Fugay, 2-time MRL winner, my foot. He's a 3-time MRL Thursday Thriller winner.
And that's a home track win for Steve here. Home track at Dover. I'm sure he's going to be so happy. Me and him, we've gone to Dover a couple of times now. He loves this place so much. He's going to be so excited that he won Dover this week. Home track, been here so many times, seen his favorite drivers win here, and now he's seen himself win here on iRacing.
I'll tell you what, Steve has got to be head over heels. Steve Fugay, he's been looking for a win all year long and finds it here today at Dover. I'll tell you what, Joe, he's got to be ecstatic. Between the win today and the season that the 76ers have had, what a great year for Steve Fugay.
I think his season's now going a lot better than the 76er season. I think that's a bit of
the next Hakeem Olajuwon. What are you talking about?
I think we're gonna need to maybe get you a new set of glasses there, Mean Gene, and help you out there a little bit. If you gay with the dub, and I think my Texas Instruments calculator might be on fire here after doing all the calculations. Definitely glad that not a new winner happened here. Let's get through the running order here, the final results. So of course Steve Fugay with the big dub, David Owens 2nd, backwards on the track like you noted, Mean Gene. Matthew Fritz on fresh tires, he got up to 3rd. Kyle Lynott's going to come up just short and get that 4th place finish. Not going to be enough for him, though. Eric Thornton 5th. Dave Kirkpatrick will get 6th. Zach Panzarella, after leading all those laps today, he'll end up finishing in 7th. Case Sabir will get 8th. 9th place will go to Tommy Fox. Nice top 10 recovery from him. And talking about nice top 10 recoveries, Steve Lewis getting top 10 run here, 10th place.
Captain Crunch scores again, 10th place for Steve Lewis. Lewis also the top point accumulator to not make the playoffs. So Steve Lewis, first guy on the outside looking in, maintains his status as the top non-playoff driver in the league. Volpus 11, Geyer 12. Those guys stay close together in points. We'll have to see who exactly is going to make their way in. And I believe we do have those final tally. What do you think, buddy? Do you got the final tally for the playoffs? Oh, it's coming. Uh-oh. Shazam. And there it is. After Dover. Oh, and it looks like he took the points lead as well. Zach Panzarella, he's in the playoffs. David Owens, he's in the playoffs. Joe Volpus, he's in the playoffs. And Dalton Geyer, he is in the playoffs. 2 Gulf Coast Racing drivers versus 2 DDI drivers. Very exciting. Jonathan Quesabeer comes up barely short, just 5 points out for Quesabeer behind Dalton Geyer. Got to be a little bit sad, but don't feel bad for those DDI drivers, because as we look at the teams, Team DDI forever gonna take the team lead in the team standings right ahead of Gulf Coast Racing. Race High Racing, I'm sure they're talking about the High Line, right, Joe?
I don't think Race High Racing meant running the High Line. That's a Gulf Coast
like the
adjacent
outside
team.
Lane.
That's definitely not
lane.
that's definitely not meant to run the outside lane. I could tell you the inspiration from that came from old KB Kevin Brower for Kyle Lanaud, Steve Fugay, and Kevin Brower's original team name there. So big win for them today, though.
Yeah, they've got to be thrilled. Steve, I mean, congratulations. This guy's been trying all year long. Lots of fast racing. Panzarella with the wins, 3 wins this year. David Owens with 5 wins. Wins have been hard to come by, that's for sure. So for Steve, he's got to be thrilled to get that dub and find himself back in victory lane. 3rd time in his career. Congratulations for him. Playoffs are set next week at Kentucky. Zach Panzarella faces off against David Owens, Joe Volpus, and Dalton Geyer. There are no points to worry about anymore, right? It's who finishes at the top. Let me ask you this, Smokin' Joe. You think it's going to take a win, or you think somebody could get 3rd and get a championship?
100% one of these 4 drivers is going to win the race next week. I would guarantee one of the 4 wins next week.
Ooh, guarantee.
That's a lock it.
You got to say like a Cajun man.
Lock it in, Mean Gene.
Lock it in. That is fierce. That is fierce. It's going to be exciting to see what is going to happen. So great racing here today. Next week, going to find ourselves at Kentucky for that Final 4 race. Any final thoughts as we walk away from the track today here, Joe?
All right, let me give you a lay of the land for your 4 championship 4 drivers, okay?
David Owens.
David Owens won in the Big Truckin' Tuesday League back in Season 7 at Kentucky. So that's a big one for him. Joe Volpus also has a win in MRL Thursday Thriller Truck Series action here back in Season number 2, way back in the day. And he also won a championship at Kentucky in the MRL Xfinity Series a couple seasons ago. Zach Panzarella, on the other hand, if we're going to talk about then your other 2 championship 4 drivers, they're, of course, Panzarella going for the championship again. Geyer's going for his first this season. Looking at this season specifically, out of the 4 championship 4 drivers, Panzarella has the best average running position on speedway tracks so far this season. And Dalton Geyer, he's right now right there in the middle. He's got a win on a speedway track this season. He has the 2nd most laps led out of the 4 of them on speedway tracks, as well as the 2nd most fast lap count. So, it's going to really it's going to be really interesting to see just which one of those 4 drivers comes out on top between the 4 of them. Of course, we were talking about a few weeks ago, David Owens and Vulpus's experience running bonfire trucks at Kentucky, all the laps they run there. And then Panzarella definitely feeling like this is a great place for him to be able to win, of course, where he chose this as the track for winning the team championship, the in-season team tournament that we were talking about. And then Dalton Geyer, we're going to see what he can do at Kentucky.
Well, Dalton Geyer, part of that team. Remember, we did the old baseball all-star game. Whoever wins that in-truck tournament, they got to pick the championship track. And the team of Geyer, Steve Lewis, and Panzarella ended up picking Kentucky as the championship track. So Geyer, part of that decision-making process. So he'll have his shot at a championship. And just next week, one short week away before we see what's going to happen. I'll tell you what, if I'm on Team Panzarella, though, I'm definitely telling him, not tires, not yet. What, just next time. We'll give you tires next pit stop, Zach. Not going to give them to you this time. But Panzarella also knew that he just needed a smooth finish here today to guarantee his spot in the Final Four. So that might have been in the front of his brain as well, making sure that he wasn't going to have a wreck early on. Using those tires early in the race made sure that he persevered through any problems. If he did wreck, it would have been later in the race, and he would not have fallen as many positions. So he does finish strong and finds his way in the playoffs. Going to be exciting next week. Cannot wait to see it.
Definitely going to be an exciting one next week to see which one of those guys can come out on top. Haven't been to this track actually since Vulpus won in season 2. So it's been a long time since we've been to Kentucky in the trucks in MRL.
Oh, that was a good pick then on his part. Can't wait to see what is going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap us up for the Thursday Night Thriller Series MRL Racing. Exciting as always. Going to wish you a fond farewell from Dover Motor Speedway. On behalf of myself, Mean Gene Money, Smoking Joe Vulpus, the Professor Buddy Sully, all of our sponsors, Chantilly Lace, DDI, KK Woodwork, the boys back in the production truck, and all of our league admins, 3-time winner Steve Fugay, David Owens, Joe Vulpus, Zach Panzarella, John Beverly. It has been our pleasure to bring you this race. Come see us next week as the championship is decided at Kentucky Motor Speedway. And as always, folks, bottoms up.